Welcome everybody to another episode of Class REDACTED, entering Season 2 in fact. You might have noticed that after 10 episodes we kind of had to stop. That's because I spent some time doing some upgrades to the podcast, to the visual fidelity. As you could see, we have an actual intro now, so that's pretty cool. But regardless, even with the new look, this is still the show where we delve deep into the terrifying world of SCP and focus on the more unknown and underappreciated parts of this beautiful universe. I am your host Ridley, being joined by my wonderful guests Silver and Ben. Say hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hello, hello.
So yeah, Season 2. We are here. I decided to go the season route just because, at least for this one, not saying that every season is 10 episodes. We're gonna figure it out as it goes. We're gonna figure this out.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we have new visuals, new great intro that I spent way too long making. But yay, we now look a little bit cooler.
Yeah,
so that's pretty cool. If you are new here and if you want to support our endeavor right here, consider subscribing and also following us on Twitter. It helps us a lot in getting our name out there because we are actually growing faster than I anticipated. We're sitting at 160 subs right now, which, my god, thank you a lot for allowing us to do this and for showing as much enthusiasm into our things. I'm reading every single comment that you guys post, and I'm seeing very, very good receptions to this podcast, which I'm happy about, which I'm very, very glad that you guys like what we're doing here. Regardless, let's get into the topic. These guys don't know what we're going to be talking about, and I've hyped this up for Silver.
Oh yeah, a lot.
Yeah.
It's 6 pages of notes this time.
I have 6 pages of notes in front of me, and I'm gonna say I've wanted to do this forever, because this is our first multi-part episode. Today is gonna be the first one, and then it's gonna get progressively more and more in-depth as the parts go on. I think 3 parts is gonna be this series, because today we're talking about the most requested topic, if you've read our comments. It's Sarkicism time.
Oh, hell yes.
Okay.
We're talking about Sarkicism. Part 1 is the overview. So this is the overview of what Sarkicism is, what it's about, what the Sarkics or the Sarkites, are about. Yeah, we're just talking about everything Sarkic, basically. This has been a very highly requested topic in our comments. I think like over 6 or 7 times people have asked for this, and we're here to deliver. We are doing Sarkicism in a 3-part format. Today is gonna be, like I said, the overview, and then the other parts are gonna get progressively more and more in depth, more and more unknown the further we go.
Right.
So, I'm guessing that you know at least a decent chunk of Sarkic lore.
Actually, no.
Yes.
Oh no, you don't know Sarkics?
I mostly know about the aesthetic of all the flashiness and red. But I don't actually know that much about Sarkicism.
Oh, you're gonna be in for a fun ride today, my brother, because my god, this shit. I knew a little bit about Sarkics, you know, how they work, some Sarkic SCPs and stuff. But now that I actually know about, you know, their deep lore, they're not the way I expected them to be. Let's put it that way. And you're gonna be seeing what they're all about.
Very excited already.
Alright, so let us get right into it with the question, what even is this Sarkicism that it's all about? Well, Sarkicism, number 1, is a religion. Sarkicism is actually not really like a cult, like one organization or a cult. It is a religious belief or a philosophical belief system. It's like Christianity, Buddhism, Hinduism, like a religion. Just a very weird religion, but that's kind of accustomed with SCP.
So it's not a group of interest?
Yes and no. The Sarkites are the group of interest, but they are not like a GOI like the church is. Sarkicism is a religion that everyone can practice.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not a GOI. Some of the features of Sarkicism includes, disclaimer, this is gonna get very graphic very soon, which is now. It includes cannibalism, human sacrifice, corporeal augmentation, thaumaturgy, dimensional manipulation, and pact with otherworldly entities are some of the main features of Sarkicism that are very prevalent in these stories. These systems have a founder. So the whole idea of Sarkicism was founded by an entity known as Grand Karcist Ion, who is, you probably might have heard of him. He is the big Karcist or Sarkic figure. He is very weird. I'm gonna explain him later, but I'm gonna, throughout all the topics we're talking about today, he is gonna be like sprinkled in a little bit with every topic because he's connected to everything. Grand Karcist Ion, basically founder of Sarkicism as a whole. Certain actions that Sarkites, I was pronouncing it, I was spelling it wrong. It's Sarkites, not Sarkics. It's I think Sarkic is actually like a slur, and Sarkite is the right one, I think.
Oh yeah, season 2 and we're already being racist. Fuck yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, perfect.
Sorry.
It's fine. It's fine, man. This is not a politically correct show. We're talking about literal fucking cannibalistic murder priests. So it's not super bad. Anyways, certain practices allow the Sarkites to change their state of being, turning them anomalous. That's why the Foundation is after them in the first place. After this change, the Sarkites are no longer considered human. They have achieved greater strength and transcended beyond humanity. Something that Sarkites call ascending.
And they do this through, like, corporeal augmentation, as you said, so body augmentation, basically.
Yes, how that works in detail we're gonna talk about later, but they basically, they turn their flesh into like weird tentacles and like get elongated arms or second heads or that kind of shit.
That's a general aesthetic of theirs.
The Sarkites are usually very secretive about their practices. Currently, apart from the Foundation, only the GOC, the Church, and the Horizon Initiative are aware of their practices, and of course the Church is very angry, because Church hates flesh, Church likes machines, Sarkites, Church Angie, basically.
They are thematic opposites.
Exactly, yes. They are
born enemies.
Thematic they are the rivaling faction of the Sarkites. Certain groups are actually very open about Sarkicism, but we're gonna talk about those later. So it's not all secret, weird, cultish stuff. Some of them are very open about their religious belief, just like in real life. Also, the Sarkites view any type of disease and infection as sacred, and they're often used in rituals or offerings. For example, this is the graphic part, they often cut off like infected flesh and lay them on like altars, or they cut out cancer cells or like tumors and stuff and use them for offerings and stuff. So they like disease and infection a lot.
Mm-hmm.
There goes.
Other groups actually embraces these diseases and they live with it. Why is not known to the Foundation yet. They are currently ongoing. These also, coming back to the body augmentations, they are not only good because they're also dangerous, because these augmentations lead to a decrease in intelligence. Often high-ranking members who have had a lot of body augmentation stuff have like psychosis, I guess psychotic shocks, because their brain is so deteriorated from them.
It's very interesting. So they're focusing more on the corporeal form and less on the mind, like the spiritual side.
Yes, the flesh is sacred. That is kind of their whole dealio. Sarkites, because that is something that a lot of people don't know. Sarkites, as well as the Mechanites, are actually a section of the Davites, which are called Davites, not Devates. I've done my math. They're called Davites, or the Deva, basically.
I think it's grammar, not math this time.
Yes, still, that doesn't matter. Same thing, same concept. Regardless, Sarkites are part of the Davites, and they followed after a revolution started by Grand Karcist Ion. And they adopted his beliefs and rivaled against the Deva, founding the thing that we know today as Sarkicism. So that is the overall thing what the Sarkics are about. So they're guys who, through anomalous means, transcend, augment their body, and are a lot about, the flesh is sacred, everything that has to do with flesh is good. So like I said, cannibalism and human sacrifice, offering flesh or consuming flesh to please their god. That is basically their ideology. Modern Sarkics are divided into two specific groups. These are Proto- and Neo-Sarkics. They are different, but they follow a similar creed. There is the Sarkic Creed, which has 5 big rules, or not rules, but 5. It's basically the 5 principles of how you should live your life. That is kind of the Sarkic Creed.
5 commandments.
Exactly, the 5 amendments of the Sarkics is the Sarkic Creed.
Mm-hmm.
The first one is apotheosis. It is the belief that an individual can ascend to a god or a god-like figure through acquisition of power. Many Sarkics believe that Ion has reached apotheosis as the only Sarkite to do so, and of course they want to be with their messiah, quote-unquote, so they want to do the same thing.
So Ion is not present in lore.
If Ion even existed is unknown.
Oh!
It's like asking Christians to prove that God exists.
Oh, I see.
It's kind of that thing. It's weird. Like we don't know if he had existed, if he didn't, if it's just people pulling each other their ass, we don't know. But a lot of all of the Sarkic texts refer to this Ion figure. Like I said, it's like God in Christianity.
I see.
Mm-hmm.
For Proto-Sarkites, apotheosis is a timed event that can only be achieved through Ion. So basically, only if Ion has graced you with divine help, you can ascend into apotheosis. For Neo-Sarkites, it's all about consumption of power. If you get enough amount of power to usurp Ion, you in turn become the new Grand Karcist. You in turn become a god. That is kind of how both sides of the Sarkites feel about the apotheosis creed. The second one is the will to power, kind of tying in the apotheosis thing. It is the belief that achieving a higher power is the driving force of man. It's always what drove mankind forward is the want for power. For example, people want to have full control over their domain. For this is very good also to compare to real life. Every single one wants to work themselves up in the chain and one day be the boss that used to look down on you. It works. The acquisition of power, it kind of works. Power in the modern world is money. Kind of works that way as well.
Yeah. So far, it doesn't seem that crazy apart from the cannibalism and thaumaturgy.
Oh yeah, it's Sarkics. They're surprisingly chill to a certain point. Of course, we're gonna get into that point later. But
yeah,
to a certain point, they seem pretty chill. The will of power also works both ways. So it works that the one in control exerts power on the lower ones, and the lower ones exert power on the higher one through opposition. It works both ways. And that is the important thing about the will of power, is because it's not just one guy having power over a person lower in the hierarchy. It's the idea that lower ranking individuals through opposition and usurping can one day surpass the higher ones.
So there's social mobility.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. There is also a proverb.
Proverbs are always good.
Yeah, that come from the Neo-Sarkics called "Desire is the measure of all things. Be unbound from the mortal tethers. Do as you will to whom you will." A Neo-Sarkic proverb, which I think sums up this with the power thing very well. The third thing is theopogy. Translating to divine feeding or god eating. So now we're gonna get into the weirder stuff.
We're getting into war now.
Kind of.
Oh no. Even the fact that I was partially right is very scary.
It's very alarming.
Yeah. Theophagy is the sacramental consumption of a god or godlike entity. It is believed that in the universe there are multiple gods, all of which can be devoured. What that means is unknown, but it's apparently possible that they can be eaten in some way. Ion supposedly did it. Ion did it supposedly. He did it. He did everything. Ion did everything that the Sarkites like.
I mean, it could very well be possible because we do have an MTF unit made out of a dead god.
Yes. So but that is for not me to decide. I'm just here to talk about flesh people.
Also, so you mentioned Christianity earlier. This is another parallel to it because the whole the wafer is the body of Christ thing.
Yep, you're gonna see a lot of parallels to a lot of religions very soon. So this is gonna be a lot more apparent once we reach further. This god eating, even though we don't know how it works, might also be the source of some of the Sarkite abilities. For example, certain Sarkites are very good in thaumaturgy, and this god eating process might be the source of that. But that's just a hypothesis about the Foundation's part. The fourth part of the Sarkic Creed is sacrifice. This definition changes depending on which group of Sarkics you ask. For the Proto-Sarkites, it is the sacrifice of one is beneficial to many. So if one person gives his life or is sacrificed in a ritual, the whole group gains the benefits. While for Neo-Sarkites, it's the other way around. Sacrifice of many is beneficial to one. Now these sacrifices work on the principle of destruction and regeneration. So it's not just killing someone, it's basically it's not torture because they like it, but it's similar. It's cutting off your flesh and letting it regrow. It's ripping off your limbs and letting them regrow naturally. It's poking your eyes out and then letting them regrow naturally. It's that kind of shit.
It's very graphic.
Yeah, it's very, very brutal. It's very, very disgusting. But that is their way. Also, important thing, because you mentioned the mind earlier, this sacrifice process is true for both muscle and mind.
Oh?
And this is all just done to build tolerance for damage. So this is how,
Oh, so it's like exercising the weakness from themselves, kind of.
Yes. That. As some of the higher-ranking Proto-Sarkites put it, strife is the greatest of tutors.
I mean, on some level.
So it's like breaking your bones so they grow back stronger.
Yeah, kind of that, but it's not bones, it's your flesh. It's kind of sort of that, but yeah.
So instead of skin, you grow back like Kevlar or thing.
Yeah, kind of. So you kind of strengthen your skin, basically, strengthen your body, strengthen your flesh.
Mm-hmm.
That is the sacrifice part. The fifth part is the most weird. It is to shepherd the flesh. That is the name of that thing. The belief is basically that all living things come from one single progenitor. All of life comes from one point in the universe. What that point is, we'll be getting into later. The Sarkites think that humans have one ancestry, so that everyone is the same. So they're inclusive, at least.
At least, yeah.
At least they're politically correct in that matter. This is referred to as the old blood. Humans have inherited from the old blood.
Is this the kind of old blood we need to fear?
Depends on your outlook on things. Let me say it like this.
All right.
I got the Bloodborne reference. Here, have a cookie. Bloodborne reference. These Sarkites, because every human shares basically the same genetics or the same DNA, they are encouraged to cultivate organic matter. So they are basically encouraged to have offspring, to get more organic matter in some form or another.
Question. Does this cultivate organic matter only apply to like children, or does it apply to like growing vegetables and such?
Organic matter in terms of flesh, which also includes animals.
Yeah, That's what I was
So
gonna
raising
ask.
livestock.
Yeah, so breeding
Yeah.
animals is a valid tactic, yes. What is this organic matter used for? Well, it's used for a practice called flesh crafting. And flesh crafting is basically taking organic matter and creating totally new ones, often anomalous ones, with it. High-ranking flesh crafters are also allowed to steal the genes from other life forms.
We have gene stealers as well. Fantastic.
Yes, they basically like capture other life forms and then extract their genes and combine them and mix and match them with other genes to create new life forms.
And is it like just for shits and giggles to make more variations, or is it actually towards the goal of creating something more powerful?
As far as I understand it, it's the goal of making new life, making new flesh, creating new life, satiating the old blood. That is kind of how this works.
Can I just say, flash crafting sounds like a Minecraft mod.
Yes,
I'm sure
it
there
sounds
is.
like
I'm sure
they're
there's one.
fucking playing modded Minecraft over there.
Very heavily modded Minecraft.
Yes, very heavily modded. Anyways, these Sarkites also have a hierarchy, like everything else. And the hierarchy is actually one of the most interesting parts of the Sarkites, because they have a grand total of 6 roles. I'll be going from them lowest to highest. The lowest one is the Orin. They are the lowest ranking Sarkites, and because they're not descending from any Sarkite bloodline. They're just random guys, basically, who have never done anything associated with Sarkic stuff.
So they are new converts, basically.
Yes, they're basically the outsiders. They're just the normal, everyday guys who see this religion and they're like, hey, that's pretty cool.
Cannibalism. That sounds fun.
Yay! I always wanted to try that.
It's your good old regular Joe coworker that stumbled into a church.
Yes, basically, that is basically what they're doing.
Well, as my dad as my dad always says, you can try everything except incest and folk dance. And they do try everything.
Yeah, they do try everything. Cut the first one, they do a lot of those, but we'll get into that later.
Yeah, sorry. Never mind.
It's fine. So the Orin are basically the outsiders of a Sarkic cult, the newbies, the newcomers. After a little bit of time in the Sarkic cults, they can basically increase their rank to a Zend, Z-E-N-D. These are middle-ranking Sarkites. They have a little bit of power, but it's really nothing special. Like they heal wounds very quickly, or they can grow a sixth finger, or very very basic shit, very basic stuff. Not anything to like super write home about, but also nothing too out of the ordinary.
So might not even be anomalous at this point, right? Because those things can happen to normal people as well.
Yes, they are. They're not anomalous, but they are. But it's so minuscule that it's not really thought of as anomalous.
It's within the explained category.
The third one are the Volataars. Volutaar. Volataar. These are the advisors for Karcists, so they help which is the other ranking. They help the Karcists in their plans, in their they're kind of like secretaries, basically.
So it's extra heads.
Yeah, they're also all female. So
secretaries.
Oh no.
Even more political correction.
Yeah, they're all female. So
Cool opportunity religion. Fantastic.
Exactly. Yep. Now, the Karcists, who are the next role, up from Volataars, they are spiritual and sexual leaders for different Sarkite organizations. These are basically the big guys for whatever group of Sarkites there are. They are considered to be biologically immortal, and they have a variety of forms and states of being. Basically, they're not just a human guy, they could be everything because they change corporeal form the entire time.
And you said they are biologically immortal, so they can still be killed, right?
They can be killed via
Take through the heart?
yes, or most common thing is killing the brain. So
Yes.
if they're brain dead, they're living, like their body is still there and operating, but they can't think anymore because
I
the brain
see.
dead.
So they're just brain dead.
Basically, yes. Basically, they're brain dead. Anyways, it's also rumored that Karcists are able to control something called Halkost, which are the organisms created by the Fleshcrafters. So the flesh crafters make these weird anomalous life forms, and the Karcists can control it, or at least it's rumored that they can control it. Now, these are basically the 4 basic stuff. You will find these in every single Sarkic organization or cult. So Orin, Zend, Volataar, and Karcists. Now we get into the big boys, starting with Klavigar. I think that's how I pronounce it. It's Klavigar. There are only 4 that are known to exist, and they kind of look like apostles. You can think of them like this. Kind of like the 12 apostles for Jesus. Kind of like 4 Klavigars for Ion.
Yeah.
Neo-Sarkites often claim ancestry from a Klavigar, even if it's a complete fucking lie.
Oh.
Klavigar are like thousands of years old. And they often say, oh, look, I'm a big important man because I stem from this Klavigar. And they're like, no, it's bullshit.
Who's gonna check, so might as well.
Yeah, who's gonna check the fucking text?
Who could check it even?
Yeah. So, the 4 Klavigar are actually all named characters.
Oh, fantastic.
Oh,
Starting
With Klavigar Nadox. Nadox is associated with intelligence, perception, and mystery. His other titles are the Tongueless Speaker and the All-Seeing. I will get a picture of Nadox, or at least an interpretation, by our good man, SunnyClockwork.
Yeah, because there's a lot of good fan art.
Here is an interpretation of how Nadox is. Lots of hands with eyes in them, going a little bit with the intelligence, all-knowing entity kind of thing. Yeah. Nadox was a Deva sorcerer who rivaled against them, and in terms of his, he basically had, he was treacherous, and he had to pay for his crimes, which included cutting out his tongue, sewing his mouth shut, and castrating him.
Oh.
So the Deva not great people.
Yeah, no.
Also, apparently this form of punishment was customary to people who said anything bad against the Devite government.
Oh, so this basically was punishment for libel.
Yes.
My god.
Yeah. That's also why he's called the Tongueless Speaker, because they cut out his tongue.
Yeah, wow.
He was then branded with a mark that never could be removed, that was unremovable, and he was exiled from the Devan city, and every single Devite was tasked with, if they see him, that they could mutilate him however they wanted. They could punch him, stab him, fucking throw stones at the guy, that didn't matter.
Even more Christian parallels to the Mark of Cain.
Yes.
yeah.
Yep. However, he then walked the path of exile and encountered Ion, who laid upon him the gift of never-ending wisdom. And from that day onward, he helped guide Ion to his destination of apotheosis, basically. So that is Nadox. He is the like I said, the intelligence-based person,
Yeah.
like very big into sorcery and magic and that kind of stuff and wizardry, and he's kind of that person. The next Klavigar is Klavigar Lovataar, and if any one of you out there wants your thick demon girlfriend, here she is.
Fuck yeah! Hell yeah.
Yeah.
She is associated with sex, love, eroticism, pleasure, but also disease and reproduction. So yeah, she's the Lamau sex joke character.
Less of a hell, yeah?
In this, yeah, she's the thick demon girl that everyone wants after Helltaker came out.
Victory Demon Girl, fuck yes.
I mean, sharply dressed demon girls are not even like an acquired taste. They just look good.
Their taste.
Yeah, exactly.
Their taste.
A good taste.
Anyways, Lovataar is also known as the High Blood Redeemer or the Hive Mother. Originally, she was a priestess, a Devite priestess, who was against Ion and his belief, to the point of becoming obsessed with him. For years, she tried to find him, she was unsuccessful, until one day Ion went to her himself. He just showed up at her doorstep. And I think I think he went into her bedroom before she wanted to go to sleep. They what happened in that bedroom is unknown for good reasons. And after this incident, they formed an inseparable union for 12 days.
pretty short for an inseparable union.
And the thing is, after the 12th day, they both disappeared and were never seen again.
Oh.
So that is Lovataar. Basically the queen succubus, basically. She is part of one of the most disgusting SCP articles, the Dracula Factory.
Oh yeah, that thing.
That is her doing.
Ugh.
So even if she is big titty demon girl, she ain't the greatest.
Yeah, demon girls are rarely the greatest in like morals.
There's also another interpretation of Lovataar right here, where she's a lot less on the thick side, but a lot more on the disgusting side. Yet again, in the Dracula Factory.
Ah, I see.
I'd still smash.
Yeah, she ain't that great. The third Klavigar is Orok. Someone who you might have heard of before, his name. Orok is a supposed disciple of Ion, and he is attributed with strength, war, violence, hunting, but also loyalty and revolt. His other names are the Horned Beast, the Brute Lord, or the Pale Hunter. Orok was a result of an experiment with alchemy and thaumaturgy on slaves, where he was basically turned into this gigantic Cyclops-looking dude, who was then used as a pit fighter in the Daven fighting rings. He was under the rule of a matriarch of a Daven matriarch called, Asvigosha, I think.
Daylight names are hard.
And so he was a pit fighter, basically only used for entertainment. Once Ion arrived in the city where Asvigosha was ruling, basically he went to her chamber, or his chamber, I don't know what gender Asvigosha is, and ordered Orok to kill his master. After a certain point of hesitation, seeing how, Orok basically got abused for just entertainment, he did. He went and did Ion's wishes. And he punched her so fucking hard that she was reduced to a bloody dust that littered the walls, ceiling, and floor.
Jesus!
That was one hell of a punch.
Yes, he fucking decked that girl in the face. Orok now is really, really, really big. Here's an image of, or an artistic representation of Ion comforting Orok after a battle. He is huge.
Oh, wow. Also,
He's gigantic.
Yeah. Also, you said he's associated with war, revolt, and hunting. So,
Yes.
of causing harm for a cause, for a benefit.
Yes, kind
And
of.
loyalty.
Yeah.
Here is a more human representation of Orok going into more of the hunting
The
vibe.
hunter, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, here's the kind of Orok in like the hunting version stuff, because he's associated with both.
Still got the flesh spear and the many-legged dog.
Exactly, yep. And the last Klavigar is Klavigar Saarn. Saarn.
A normal name.
And she is attributed to with darkness, secrecy, deception, assassination, and also justice. Her names are the Whisperer, the Coiled Shadow, and the Faceless One. Saarn was a young servant lady who got relentlessly abused by her Davite family. So she was like kind of like a maid back in the day. After years of this abuse, she forged a concoction and killed the entire household of, I think, 15 people by poisoning half of them and like shanking the rest with like a dagger.
Oh.
Imbued in poison.
Pretty badass.
She was then captured and awaited execution in the Davite prison when Ion came to her and somehow saved her. She would then become Ion's best assassin and the leader of, the Sarkite assassins. She's often drawn in kind of like a snake interpretation
Yeah, the
of her.
coiled
Lots
shadow.
of chains around her. Yeah, the coiled shadow. Lots of chains, lots of snake imagery. That is basically Saarn. Those are the 4 Klavigar. They're pretty fucking awesome.
Yeah, and I noticed a theme. Like, I think most of them were in some kind of downtrodden position, like being a pit fighter, being an abused maid, or like being an outcast. And Ion basically helped them out and gave them a second chance.
Yeah, that is kind of the thing. One of the things what that Ion is known for. He is the protector of the outcast. That's kind of his dealio. So yeah, those are the Klavigar. And this is not the last time we'll be hearing from them. I have more to say on them later. But so far, 4 Klavigar, 4 apostles basically of Ion. Pretty cool dudes. Like, not actually cool, but they at least sound cool.
Look cool.
They also look really cool. I think my favorite of them is either Orok or Nadox. I can't decide.
I really like the coiled snake lady.
Saarn is also pretty cool.
The names are hard.
Lovataar is disgusting because I know the Dracula factory and my goodness.
My favorite's the pale hunter. Forgot his name.
Orok.
Orok, yeah. So I guess it was Orok, but I wasn't sure, so I just said pale hunter.
Yeah. All right. So we got the Klavigar, and then there's one other hierarchy rank above them, Ozermok, aka Grand Karcist.
Oh.
This tier is only Ion and no one else. That is a tier exclusively coming reserved for Ion and no one else. There are some people who are labeling themselves as second comings of Ion. It's all bullshit. No one actually is. It's pretenders basically. It's like those Christian scams of I have been in commune with God.
Yeah, or
like that kind of stuff happen.
Like that time in Russia where 3 people claimed to be deceased, like Tsar or something.
Yeah, that kind of stuff going on. Same thing for Ion. Anyway, so that is the overarching thing of Sarkics. Now we still have the thing because I said earlier that Sarkics are split into 2 groups, Proto and Neo-Sarkites.
Yeah.
I said that in the earlier parts of this podcast. Now, I'm gonna actually explain what they are. So we're gonna start with Proto-Sarkites. The thing is, they both practice Sarkicism, but they all have their different beliefs. And we're gonna start with Proto-Sarkites. Proto-Sarkites operate in secrecy unless it's one designated ritual area. So, like a temple, they're walking around there with their fleshy limbs. So, Proto-Sarkites are hard technophobes and reject the concept of modern life as a whole.
So they're basically evil Amish.
Yes.
Evil Amish.
That is a very good comparison, actually. They hate modern life and they hate technology. And they even sometimes go out of their way and destroy technological infrastructure. So they burn down cell towers, they break down power lines, that kind of stuff.
Or like trying to return everything else to a more pre-industrial state as well.
Yeah. They value humility and self-sacrifice and practice the old ways, quote unquote. So they're the OG Sarkites, basically.
Yeah.
There are currently 4 known orders of Proto-Sarkites. The first one are the Solomonari. This is the oldest order, hypothesized to be existed between 1200 and 600 BC. So they're very old. Yeah, BC.
BC, wow.
It's likely that they are a subgroup of the Dacians, a civilization of Greek people that actually exist. And the Solomonari also seem to have connections to the cult of god Zalmoxis, which is a real thing, by the way. That was a real cult back in Greek times.
Oh yeah, yes, it was, yeah.
Yeah, Zalmoxis is the god of eternal life, and so they have connections to that one. They operated until the 15th century and remained highly influential during this entire time. They are presumed destroyed by a. I'm sorry, you both are Hungarian. These are Hungarian people.
Oh.
Oh yeah.
He's called. He's called. I don't know if it's John. It's Hunyadi.
Hunyadi.
It was a famous king, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, he was a famous political figure and also a police guy, who apparently destroyed them during the time he was alive.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
I don't get this. I'm not Hungarian, man.
I mean, you're not that far.
Yeah, I'm like half an hour away from both of you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
not like 2 hours, something. I don't know. Anyways, modern Solomonari are almost non-existent. Practitioners of the order, usually imitators. Copying old traditions and rituals to kind of keep it alive somehow.
Like modern. What's the word for it? Yeah. Sorry.
I know
cut
what
it.
you mean, but I know what you're thinking of, but I can't remember the word either.
Modern pagans. That's the word.
The second order is probably the one for contender of the coolest name, the Church of the Red Harvest.
Nice.
They were discovered at SCP-2133 in 1936 by Group Division P. We haven't talked about Group Division P yet. It's basically
Russian, I think.
It's a Russian occult military union, basically. The Foundation discovered them after taking control over 2133 and basically knows about them ever since. Quick little overview. SCP-2133 is a village in the Ural Mountains, and the villagers are practicing a regeneration ritual.
Oh yeah, I read
which is very disgusting. Is rebirthing their deceased as newborns from the turnip fields in the village.
Jesus.
Yeah,
It's basically like crop. It's crop fields, but instead of like crops, it's human fetuses.
Like what I said before. they aren't growing vegetables, they are growing people.
Yeah, they're growing people.
Jesus
I was
fucking Christ.
half right again.
This process is part of something they call the Old Covenant, which should allow them, according to them, to make them enter a place called Aditum, which is paradise.
Wait. Seeing something doesn't make sense to me here. If they are constantly reborn onto the material world, how can they enter a paradise that's not Earth?
Look, man, I am not part of this group. I have no fucking idea.
I would hope you are not.
I don't know how they do it.
Plus, it's religion. It doesn't always make sense.
Oh, yeah, it's cults. Do they need to make sense? I guess not.
Yeah, never mind.
The Church of the Red Harvest is apparently controlled by Karcist Alka, who is hiding beneath the Ural Mountains in a weird like hidey hole spot, which is apparently connected to the village with like underground tunnels. There is, I think, one experiment or exploration log in those tunnels. They're made of flesh and bones.
Ah, yeah.
Flesh corridors.
Not that unexpected.
So yeah, that is the Church of the Red Harvest, the second Proto-Sarkic stuff. The third one is the Vatula, or the Vatula. I don't really know how to pronounce them.
You're saying Proto-Sarkics. These are... Oh, sorry.
The old.
Mixing up my Greek words, sorry.
No. These are still the OG Sarkics.
Yeah, Proto is before and Neo would be new. Alright.
Yeah. The Vatula were originally discovered in 1969, but were originally mistaken for the Agori, a real cannibal tribe that exists in a real world today. The Agori are an actual tribe. They are on like I think 2 or 3 islands in the in around Madagascar. They are real cannibals.
I guess are they the people who like scientists tried to make contact with them, but they came back with a plane that had a like a ton of spears?
Yes.
All right.
Those are the Agori. Because they have similar rituals to the Vatula. They were known, like I said, since 1969, but the Sarkic connection was only made in 2010 because they didn't know that they were actual Sarkics. The Vatula exert fear on the poor in multiple Indian states. So they're basically like a guerrilla warfare force in India. Not really much is known about them other that they grant blessings and that they also try to spread like a flesh plague. It's not really known what it is, they do it. They're also originally supposed to be controlled by Karcist Vasky, who came from Northwest. So, very weird group, not known for a long time, so they might get new lore later, but they're very recent. And the fourth of the orders, is the Church of the Eternal Mother.
I'm guessing this is somewhat related to the demon girl.
To Lovataar? Yes.
Lovataar, that's the name.
This is a small sect found inside SCP-4476, which is a place located in St. Luciana Bay. This cult is exclusively made up of members of La Familia Natal, which is a real drug cartel family. And their ritual is almost as disgusting as the Red Harvest one. It is implanting fetuses into your body.
I think that's more disgusting than turnip people.
Which is not only your stomach, it's your legs, your arms, your back, your head.
So it's like old medicine. So it's like old medicine where they thought the womb wandered around the body.
Yes, and there are pictures in the article. I'm not gonna show them now.
No.
Where there are like people with like head-sized bulges on their leg or their arm, and they're carrying a fetus inside that.
Ugh.
It's really disgusting.
I think sheesh is an understatement here.
Oh, it's absolutely is.
These are referred to, these entities, as unborn, and are treated with ritualistic respect, and are basically being prayed to. If you have one of those in your body, you are sacred and on the path to enlightenment. It's basically their belief. First contact was made in April of 2010. Research is currently ongoing. So those are the Proto-Sarkites. As you can see, lots of disgusting in here.
Yeah, but it's Sarkic, so...
Yeah, but, so these are the guys who practice the old ways of Sarkicism, how it was back in the day. On the contrast, the Neo-Sarkites embrace modernity. They are the opposite. They embrace modern life, and they are also one unified group. They're not just random cults. They're one unified religion. It's unknown if they're a recent formation, or if they are people that got rejected out of the Proto-Sarkic circle. Neo-Sarkites have absolutely no problem with technology, and are very open about their belief. It's like saying, oh, what religion are you? Oh, I'm Neo-Sarkite. I'm like, okay, cool, pretty nice. They're usually normal people with normal lives, like you and me. They're just, Sarkicism is just their religion.
And does that include the cannibalism and all the thaumaturgy stuff as well, I'm guessing?
Of course.
Yeah, I mean, it is the religion, so stupid question.
Of course, yeah. The goal of Neo-Sarkicism is to achieve your own desires and to become more powerful.
Doesn't sound that bad.
It really ain't that bad.
Yeah.
So Neo-Sarkites are for the most part, very chill. There are also, yet again, 4 orders that are known in the Neo-Sarkite ways. The first one is Aditum's Wake. It was active in northern eastern US and is the oldest Sarkic group in the US, starting in 1650.
I'm noticing a pattern here. Like 4 disciples and 4 sects in both Neo and Proto-Sarkicism. Is that a magic number to them?
It doesn't explicitly say it, but there's a lot of 4s here.
So it's more of a returning motive.
Yes, kind of, yeah.
That eye on his chin.
The Aditum's Wake is presumed destroyed ever since November 28th, 1952. Which also correlates with the creation of SCP-2480. So, yeah.
Which one is 2480?
It's called an unfinished ritual.
Oh, that one. Yeah.
The lead of Aditum's Wake is Karcist Sulkisk, also known as, and this is the most baller name ever, he's also known as, his real name is Cornelius P. Baldfeld III. That's his real name.
Very interesting name.
He was a millionaire industrialist with a big interest in the occult, as you can see on this picture.
Very based.
He died in 1952, together with the entire group. Presumed, of course.
Yeah.
The Foundation didn't even see them as a threat until that day, and the Foundation fears that the Alitum's Wake have survived this event. They're not sure if literally everyone is dead.
And wait, what was this event?
It's the one that happened in 2480 on November 28th, 1952.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, the ritual event,
Oh
basically.
yeah.
It's theorized that the new leader is Vivian Durand Croy, the wife of Alexander Croy, who is the CEO of Abrax Arms and thought to be Sarkite. So a big person, basically. The second order of Neo-Sarkicism is an order that you might have heard of. It's the Hunter's Black Lodge. Something that you might have heard of if you know about a certain SCP. It is a criminal cult active in the post-Soviet states, aka ex-USSR territory.
Yeah.
And they've been linked to murder, extortion, robbery, prostitution, gambling, drug trafficking, human trafficking, and illegal pit fighting rings. So your standard, basically, like your kind of movie bad criminal organization kind of stuff.
Fairly classic.
These practices are often kind of spiced up with, Sarkic rituals. So for example, the extortion. For example, if they like have an underground pit fighting ring, they will throw like a random guy in there, and then they will maybe not throw another random guy in there, but like a Sarkic abomination, or if they like get a person for human trafficking, they will hook them on some hooks and let them bleed out first. So that kind of stuff is what they're doing.
Wait.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
I don't know. I'm just stunned by this because you did not make an understatement when you said this would be disgusting and gory.
Oh yeah, the Sarkites are.
I mean, I knew
insane.
this, but just going into it and hearing all the specifics is just.
Yep.
It's just really turning my stomach a bit.
Yeah, that is the Sarkic episode. That's why I had a little bit of a disclaimer.
Good. That was a good idea.
Also, the first contact with the Hunter's Black Lodge was made in 1990, and Gru Division P stepped in to neutralize them. They failed, describing the Hunter's Black Lodge as a never-ending hydra, always springing up in new places, regardless of how many hiding places they cut off. Yeah.
Jesus.
That's a cool description.
Victims of the Black Lodge raids are often impaled by spines made out of organic matter.
Oh.
And are often cannibalized as well. So they have like missing fingers, missing legs that got eaten.
A quick snack during the raid.
Yeah, gotta keep yourself healthy.
Gotta get that protein, bro.
The last contact with the Hunter's Black Lodge was made in a place called SCP-2408, or Orok's Fall. This is something that you might have known. It's a very popular Sarkic SCP. And this is a great story, amazing story. And yeah, that was the last contact the Foundation made with them in this current timeline. The third order is the Esoteric Order of the White Worm. They're active throughout most of Europe, and they are kind of like a secret society kind of thing. This cult is open to the public, but their practices are not.
So a mystery cult.
It's like Scientology, where they are very public about recruitment, but what they actually do is super secretive. They're kind of like that one. They're suspected to be one of the earliest Neo-Sarkite cults, and they were founded by a bunch of Hungarian nobles.
Oh, more names for us to pronounce.
They don't have names. It's just Hungarian nobles.
Fuck.
And they were heavily influenced by the Solomonari. So the old guys.
Wait, what century did you say they were in?
They started in 1200 BC.
1200 BC.
The leaders are presumed members of a Hungarian royal family. It's family Vörös, I think is how you pronounce it.
Could you type it out?
Yes.
W.
That.
Yes,
that one.
Vörös. That just means red in Hungarian.
Yeah, that is the family name
like
of them.
Crimson
Crimson
or...
red. Yeah,
Crimson
red.
red.
Fits.
Yeah.
And the last order of the Neo-Sarkites is the Darkwater Lodge. I don't know why they have Lodge twice, and also Dark and Black. They have Hunter's Black Lodge and Darkwater Lodge. They could have maybe done a different name, but that's just me.
They just like their buildings.
Fair. They were only recently discovered, less than 5 years, and they're located in New Orleans, close to a location called La Rue Macabre. My Spanish is terrible, so I'm sorry.
We can't help you with that.
Yeah, and it's largely unknown of what they even do. Some negotiations are underway to get Foundation researchers inside that organization, but it is believed to be an old civilization hailing from northwestern Africa.
Oh.
Everything else is basically unknown. Like, you don't know shit about them. But there is a very extensive research document on the wiki about them.
We don't know anything about them, but we have a research document on them. Interesting.
No, the thing is, the research document is just, things that are hypothesized.
Oh,
got,
I see.
They got like camera drones and sleeper agents into the thing.
I see.
So it's nothing is confirmed. Like,
all right.
Actual researchers are not present around them. They're just very secret new cult.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense.
So yeah, now you know about the Sarkites, what they do, what their beliefs are, what are the hierarchy, etc. Now, to end this off, let's talk about the mythology, because we've heard a lot about these gods and godlike creatures. Let's actually talk about them. For the Sarkites, the universe is a metaverse, so containing multiple other universes inside it. It's kind of like, I don't know, it's a metaverse. It's multiple universes smashed together into one. For the Sarkites, life and existence is pointless.
Good.
Why that is because of a figure called the Old God. Who is, the Old God is called Yaldabaoth. There he is, the boy, the man. You might have heard of him.
Yeah.
Other names are Vazyuma, God Eater, Devourer, the Womb of Chaos, the Indulging Vastness, that's my favorite one, and the Great Winnower. Yaldabaoth for me, it's easier to pronounce.
He's from an old religion, I think Sumerian?
He's Sumerian, yes.
Yeah.
Yaldabaoth is supposed to be the main power of the entire universe. And it depends on what group of Sarkites you ask. Neo-Sarkites will worship him as a god, as the god. Proto-Sarkites think that he's actually the enemy of all life.
Very different interpretations.
Which is weird because, Yaldabaoth is their god, and the Sarkites think that he's the bad one. The old text, the old text back in Ion's days, they say that Ion has usurped Yaldabaoth and created a kingdom out of his flesh. There is more lore on this. I'll not get into this right now because it's very long and I don't want this episode to go longer than it already is. So.
Yeah, we've already been talking for a bit.
Now, yeah, over an hour we've already been sitting here. But we're on the home stretch. Other texts also say that Ion simply brought down archons, which are kind of like Yaldabaoth's servants. And if we believe these texts, then overall, the Sarkites have failed what Ion always wanted, which is eternal life.
Oh.
So up to this point, the Sarkites have failed Ion's vision. And that is kind of what they're trying, to create these anomaly, like that's kind of the point of the Flesh Crafters, because they want to make a life form that is literally immortal.
The perfect life one.
Exactly, yes. Proto-Sarkites actively hate Yaldabaoth. They fucking hate him. They think that he is the creator of everything and the destroyer of everything. And there is actually a on this that is on the wiki. It is, quote, The wound, cut from the flesh of totality, deep it severed the line of future and past. Drawn to its ancient fester, God swarmed as flies to a corpse. We waited within bloodless veins, faithful to that which we could not do, unable to imagine what we might become, there greater. Here we slept until our souls became flesh. Sonne Aluk. So, a lot of weird talk, but it's basically, we've waited for so long, but we never got what, we wanted, kind of that thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
To Sarkics, all life is a byproduct of Yaldabaoth. Because he's called the God Eater, and he's thought of that Yaldabaoth, eats gods, worlds, and stars to gain more power. And the things, like, the byproduct of this consumption is life. So that's kind of why they think life is pointless, because we're a byproduct to them.
And since we are now an existing thing, Yaldabaoth will eventually consume us to gain more power again.
Yes, exactly. So we're basically useless in the eyes of Sarkites.
I see.
They think that he has made the universe, like you said, his altar, and life has to be sacrificed to him, which is then, yet again, as the byproduct is sent out again. So it's basically like a never-ending feast for Yaldabaoth.
Like an Ouroboros, maybe.
Life gets consumed. Life gets
that was
byproduct released.
Sorry, and that Ouroboros comment was not a spoiler for the next thing we are doing.
No, we're not doing Ouroboros, please. I've seen only one comment on Ouroboros so far, and I'm like, no, sorry, brother.
Once we release this, there will be more after this.
Definitely, yes. Anyway, so the Archons that we're talking about, what are they even?
You said they are like the disciples of Yaldabaoth?
They accompany him. They're also called Voltas for Proto-Sarkics. They're described as manifestations of true chaos, unconceivable to human minds. So Lovecraft stuff, basically, like the great ones from Lovecraft stories.
Chaos.
The Mechanites describe them as terrible and rapturous angels.
Biblically accurate angels.
Yeah, kind of.
Be
yes.
not afraid.
Yet again, there is a wonderful excerpt on them. The swineherd prostrated himself before the Sorcerer King and asked, Great Sorcerer King and Ozermok, heart of man and light of lights, I speak for the folk of the cold marsh. We fear the red lanterns that dance away without harmony. Our spirit guides warn of ill omens. And Ion did assure the man, I have gazed upon the faceless ones, servitors of his undulging vastness. Their chief is blind, castrated by our worlds and will. He sings songs of anarchy, but they will not come again. These terrible spirits do not deserve our love. Render unto them no sacrifice until the stars have aligned. Sonne Vit. So, Ion thinks that, basically the Archons are not the ones we should worship. We should, in fact, actively revolt against them until the stars align, basically until Yaldabaoth descends on us.
What after the descent?
Yeah, that is kind of Ion's mentality on the Archons. The story goes as follows: that because he says in this quote right there, I have gazed upon the faceless ones, so he met the Archons once apparently, and if we believe the texts, they have issued 6 challenges or rituals for Ion to perfect, so that he could become ascended. He mastered those, breaking him free from mortal restrictions, thus making him able to commune with Yaldabaoth himself. Further connections are unknown. Both Yaldabaoth and the Archons supposedly exist in a place called the Void, which is like a parallel dimension between it's like limbo. It's like
a space between dimensions.
Yes, the Archons have a sign that some Sarkite cults plaster on walls. It's this one. So, that's kind of like the mark of the Archons. And because of this, after Ion ascended, he yet again apparently spoke to his believers. I have stepped beyond the flow of dreams, stood before the old ones within their own desolate domain. I have endured their intolerable force across countless eons. I have seen the infinite dead worlds murdered death herself. I have read the entrails of our creator, beheld eternity unfurled. Know that our paradise draws near, and with our own flesh shall we birth it. Sonne Skal. So, yeah, basically, Ion wanted his people to ascend into a civilization of gods, basically. That is kind of what he always wanted. Not doing such a great job there, I gotta say.
No. Very much failed, yeah.
Yeah, they very much have failed in this regard.
I mean, they achieved some forms of immortality.
Yeah, they definitely achieved something. Like we have like they definitely they created some pretty damn impressive life forms. SCP-610 comes to mind. They created that one.
Yeah.
That's a Sarkic SCP. Yeah. So lots of interesting stuff they definitely made. They came close multiple times too, but that's different stories.
That's for another time.
To end this whole thing, let me ask one final question yet again. We've been talking so much about this Ion guy. Well, who really is it? Because he's mentioned here, there, but who really is he? Yet again, like the Scarlet King episode, another trick question because this can't really be answered. But we have some threads that we can connect together to kind of make a picture of what he kind of is supposed to be. If he even existed at all. Like I said, it's proving that God exists. So,
and we're not going to do that in a podcast episode.
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
I mean, that would get us some good views.
Yeah, but no, that would also give me some death threats, and I'm not into that one.
Yeah, no.
Anyway, so, Grand Karcist Ion, or Ozurmok Ion, depending on how you pronounce it. It's unknown if he is still alive, or if he even existed at all. If he would exist, if we pretended he existed, basically, he would represent a high-level reality bender. He is supposedly, he was born from a Devite mother and a slave father. And he's also known as the Sorcerer King of Aditum, or the Sorcerer King of Paradise. After he, like I said, he was born into a Devite family, with his father being a slave. Often, he was thought to be an alchemist or a priest for the Deva. Artistic depictions of Ion are all over the place. Like, they are, like, in lore and out of lore, they are all over. The most consistent depiction of Ion is the one drawn by SunnyClockwork, where he has the 3 eyes, the 3 horns, his staff, and a flesh robe, and 1 wing. That's kind of like that is the most well-known depiction of Ion, but it's depicted in so many other ways. He's depicted, for example, here as kind of like this. This is like a kind of more human depiction of Ion. You know, with the human. He has his flesh staff. The staff is a big thing for him.
There was also an earlier depiction of him comforting the disciple associated with war, the Pale Hunter.
Orok, yes, yeah. Orok, where he has
was
multiple wings, yeah.
Yeah.
This is also another interpretation, which is what he became after he got ascended, which is this.
Oh!
Lots of flesh, lots of it.
Biblically accurate.
There are multiple, there are also interpretations of him. For example, this is another big, very often used picture. The one in the middle is supposed to be Ion. And the ones around him are random Karcists, basically.
It kind of makes sense that he has so many different depictions, both on a meta level, that a god is difficult to depict, and both on a narrative level of flesh being changing. As you said, one of the ranks of Sarkics could change many forms. Change into many forms.
Yes. After you reach Karcist, you aren't a real, like, you are changing always.
You don't have a set form after that.
Yeah, like you see all the guys that are around Ion in this picture, they're all other Karcists.
Yeah. It makes sense that he has so many forms.
Yeah. But in all these depictions, he's often depicted with some kind of robe. Sometimes in the more traditional depictions, he's depicted as being impaled by stakes, which have his own head on them, kind of to depict his immortality. You know, impaled by so many things and like with his head, and he's still living. It's unknown if Ion's belief system or the revolution against the Deva came first. So we don't really know what sparked Sarkicism, either the revolution or Ion's teachings, but it's one of the two definitely. If these events are to be believed real, so all the events with the Klavigar and the war on the Deva and the Mechanites and all that, it's believed that Sarkicism is basically a religious byproduct of a slave revolt. Like, the main thing was slaves revolting against their masters, and as a byproduct, Sarkicism was made to explain the anomalous capabilities that they used against the Deva. But that is the Foundation's interpretation. Even they don't know for sure. Because the true nature of Sarkicism is still largely unknown. And that wraps up Sarkicism. A quick overview of everything you need to know regarding Sarkics. So yeah, we got the flesh people done.
Yeah, well, the overview of them.
The overview.
We said 2 more episodes to go.
And one of them, you get to decide for yourself.
Oh.
Which is you two.
Me. Oh, us.
We talked about all of the orders of Proto-Neo-Sarkites. One of them we're going to talk about in detail. Which one is it? We got the Solomonari, the old people, the very old, basically the boomer order, if I'm so inclined.
They have boomer Sarkics.
I like that name.
The Church of the Red Harvest, the ones growing turnip people. The Vachala, the guys who are the slaves, you know, the slave people in India.
Mm-hmm.
The Church of the Eternal Mother, the one with La Familia Natal. And on the Neo-Sarkic side, we have Aditum's Wake, the guy, you know, with the SCP 2480. The Hunter's Black Lodge, the Russian criminal gang with Orok's Fall. The Esoteric Order of the White Worm, the secret society inspired by the Solomonari. And the Darkwater Lodge, the very, very unknown New Orleans-based cult. Which one do you want to know of more?
Say about the first lodge, but what do you think?
The you mean the Black Lodge?
The Black Lodge, yeah.
The Black Lodge, yes. We can you can also say like that you like multiple ones. You don't have to fixate on one of them.
I don't have any preference. This is a tough decision.
If you don't have preference, we will do Hunter's Black Lodge. If you don't have preference,
I'm good with either of them.
All right, so looks like we're doing Hunter's Black Lodge. We're covering Orok's Fall, which is oh my god, it's a great story.
Yeah.
Great SCP. Great choice on that part. Hunter's Black Lodge is great. So, for our third episode, not the second one is going to be something different. Still Sarkic related, something different. The third episode is going to be on Hunter's Black Lodge, aka SCP 2408, or Orok's Fall. So, be excited for that one, but that comes in a few weeks. Next episode is going to be on something different. That is going to be, I'm also very excited because this is just the start of our Sarkic journey. So yeah, that is all about Sarkics. Any thoughts and feelings about Sarkics and the flesh people?
Very disgusting.
Yes, I gave a warning before, but...
Yeah, it was a very good idea. I'll make sure not to eat too much before the next recording.
No, the next one is fine. The second one, you better not eat anything when we talk about Orok's Fall, because... Oof. Yeah. That was Sarkics. Our Sarkic journey begins now. Begins right here. I'm not sure when this episode goes live, but I think this is still before Christmas. So, if we end up not doing something for Christmas, which I don't think I will have the time for, yeah. So have a fleshy Christmas, everybody.
Fleshy Christmas.
Very fleshy Christmas.
Yep.
Preferably don't have a fleshy Christmas.
Yeah, you yourself don't, but you know, it's not really. It probably won't really be too great for the grandparents, you know.
Have a fleshless Christmas.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be more Church of Broken God, though.
Yeah, probably, but doesn't matter. Happy Christmas either way. That is the thing that I wanted to say.
That's the end of the world, yeah.
Yes. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed us rambling about 5 people. And if you did, be sure yet again to consider subscribing and follow us on Twitter. It helps us a lot. And also, if you like, this topic was chosen because you requested it so much. So if you wanna know more topics, if you wanna, if you have some ideas what we should cover after the Sarkic trilogy, then leave a comment down below. It helps a lot in deciding what topic we should, because I got a document with like 100 topics, and choosing from those is hard. So your comments will make it a lot easier to choose. Anyways, so thank you all so much for listening, and see you next time. Bye.
Bye.